Hi, my name's Karina and I'm an above-knee amputee. That came about through having osteosarcoma. They tried to save my leg and reconstruct, but it kept coming back, so in the end the leg had to come off. Something that's important for me in terms of preparing for amputation was just getting friends and family lined up to bring in food, nice things to eat post-amputation. So I didn't have to eat the hospital food, which I'd had quite enough of with all the chemo inpatient stuff. So that was something that's important to me. Another thing I did to prepare for my amputation was to look for videos of amputees of a similar level, for example, above knee amputees, to see what could be achieved post-amputation. So I looked for videos of people doing things that I enjoy doing, walking, running, although I haven't got there yet, just generally being active. And also I even tried to find above knee amputees dancing. Now there aren't that many, but there were a few, and I did find that quite inspirational to think that that was something I could work towards eventually. Other than that, I think it was mostly just practical preparations and getting my head around it a bit. It can be quite odd being told you're going to have your leg removed. It can feel quite devastating. I think in my case, I had the surgeons try to save my leg and do reconstructive surgery more than once. And I think by the time I actually got my leg amputated, it was in some way a relief because the cancer kept coming back. So the idea that they would just take away all of the primary stuff with good margins and there were less likely to be complications was a good thing.
Hi, my name is Pete and I am a hip disarticulation amputee, which means that from the hip down on my left hand side I have no leg. The time around prepping for my surgery, because I'm elective, I chose to have my amputation due to complications after surgery and things like that. I was in pain and I was unable to carry on the way I wanted to. So I chose to have my leg amputated. So my experience is quite different than many people's. So my preparation for the amputation was basically it's getting everybody on board with my way of thinking, that it would be better for me. I had limb salvage previously of my left femur, and then I had a hip replacement, and it didn't get along with me. It didn't work right. Pain-wise, I didn't really give it much consideration, that I would be in pain afterwards, because I was in pain then, and I'd not even had the amputation. My life was limited. I couldn't play with the children. I couldn't get down on the ground. I couldn't do anything like that, and they had to approach me from my right hand side rather than the left, so they didn't knock my leg, because it was very sore where the operation site was and things like that when I'd had the limb salvage. So it was very, very one track that I knew I wanted the amputation. So that was what I wanted, and because it was an elective and it was my choice, I was shown a prosthetic before, the type of prosthetic that I would have, and the socket that I say socket, it's more of like a seat that you sit in and strap round your waist, and that, it didn't put me off. It didn't go, it didn't shock me. It didn't make me think I don't want this any less or anything like that. So, it was very much, I knew what was best for me and my body and my family in my situation. So that's, why I elected to have the amputation.
Hi, my name's Ed Holt. I'm 29 years old and I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma in September 2009. I had a grueling year in hospital of chemotherapy from 2009 through to May 2010. And I had the amputation New Year's Eve, so the 31st of December in 2009. And then once the amputation was out of the way, I had follow-up chemotherapy of 4 or 5 cycles after that into the start of 2010. And preparing for the procedure and, speaking to friends and family, again, there's having lots of conversations, lots of research. I went on Google many a times, reached out to different people. I was really lucky. I knew somebody called Mark Woods, who's a Paralympian, who did really well and successful, who actually had osteosarcoma, who lives in the same village as myself. So I was really lucky to be able to reach out to him, get different advice, speak to the people around me in terms of what was it like to be living as an amputee. And ultimately, you're the only one who will ever know what it's like when it's happened. But to go get advice is always great to give you a different perspective on what's to come and what to expect. And then it can make potentially the decision or the journey afterwards a little bit easier, knowing exactly what the road ahead is for you. And one piece of advice for someone preparing for an amputation, or for me, it's probably one piece of advice just for anybody, is do your research, talk to as many people as you can, so people like myself or anybody that's been through it, because everybody wants to help. So just ask questions, no matter how silly they may sound.